Well, good morning. This is Tom. Welcome to the farm. Today's project was actually supposed to be yesterday's project, but kind of like a lot of things, good intentions don't necessarily work out. I had it set up where I was going to plow up my old garden space and break ground on one I tried to use this year, but I never actually rolled it over. It was an experiment in no-till. That didn't work. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and I went to get the tractor started yesterday, and it's been cold and it's been sitting for a while, and the battery was dead, and I mean really dead. So I charged it overnight, come out this morning and left the gas on. So the gas, the carburetor, it sticks, so it just floods out everything. So it was flooded out right off the bat. Ran the battery down again, recharged it again, shut the gas off, opened the throttle and started it up, and it started and ran. But the problem is that it was too late. I already washed out the plugs, which doesn't sound like a big deal. You just let it dry out. But these old tractors, I don't know. This is an old 19. Well, I'll have to look again. But it's a 9N, good tractor. It'll do what I need it to do. Problem is, now I got to pull the plugs, dry them off, put them back in, and go again. A lot of people just replace them. They say they're never quite the same, and they may not be. But I don't see any sense in doing that. So I'm gonna pull plugs real quick. Dry them off, check everything out, and we're going to get to it. I'm not going to rebuild the carb. I'm not going to try to get the bolt unstuck. It's just silly. I don't use this enough to worry about. But glad you're here. All right. I've showed you this tractor before. It's a 1940. I actually had to look on the block here, and on the side of the block it says 40 is the last two digits. So it's a 1940 9N. What's going on, Dingo? You decided to get in the shot? Anyway, I got this in a trade deal when I was building a barn for a guy down around Springfield area, and it's been actually a really good tractor. I have had to put tires on it, but other than that, I've messed with the points a few times, rebuilt the carb, but it's just a workhorse. So anyway, we're gonna pull the plugs, dry them off, put it back together, get this thing rolling, and move on with it. So I guess I'll just take it on with me for that. All right, this one has been switched over to a 12-volt alternator setup. It's not a one-wire ignition, or one-wire alternator, but it kind of is a one-wire alternator because I kind of forced it to be. I stuck it to the I can't see it now. Anyway, I stuck it from this prong to the hot side. So what happens is it won't charge until it hits a certain RPM, and then when it hits a certain RPM, it'll charge no matter what RPM it's running at. But anyway, that's just a plus, and it really doesn't matter. But I thought you might want to know. Anyway, I've got to pull these plugs and dry them off and put them back in. And just hang on, you can come along. I watched a video of a guy, and all they did is work on these old Fords. And he was talking about how certain plugs you should use, certain plugs you shouldn't. But I'm gonna make sure I've got the right ones in here before I go to talking too much. So anyway, he said you could use 437s or 216s. These are 216s. He said, if I remember right, the 216s are what he preferred, and I'm not sure why. All I know is that I have very little problem when I listen to what he says to do. So I try to stick with the 216s. Now the problem I have found with the 216s is the availability of them. There's not a whole lot of availability. For some reason, you know, when these get old and obsolete, you know, because, I mean, how many tractors run points anymore, you know? I mean, they just don't. And these old ones are just they're just going away, you know? They're you know, you're going to have to, sooner or later, well, I mean, they've been antiques forever, but sooner or later, they're going to be hard to find. Of course, there's a bunch of them out there. You look on Facebook Marketplace. Now, I don't know if you saw this when I pulled this out, but it was saturated. And of course, there's crap down inside there too. I probably should have cleaned that out better. But you blow them off and you scrape them off a little, dry them, and then put them back in. You'd be surprised how much better it runs. I should have started it up so you could have heard it run before I started doing this. When I started it the first time, I mean, it cut out and spit and sputtered, and it sounded like it was running on 3 cylinders and 2 sometimes. So I don't know. We're gonna do this. This is what I usually do if it has a problem, because I mean, it's not like it's my first rodeo. I've done it several times, but just kind of pull all these out and do the same thing over and over again. None of them, oh, and that's another thing too. You gotta be careful. Like I said, you don't want to cross thread. You don't want to freaking strip anything out. You know, these old tractors are hard enough to find working condition, let alone fixing something that you could have avoided working on in the first place. Some of them are just covered with black because there's so much, they've been run so rich. What happens, like I said before, the bowl overfills. You'll look down here and this tube will have fuel running out of it. I had to buy another air tube because, well, mine fell off and I think I bush hogged it. I don't know where it went. Couldn't find it. And when you order something online, like I said, with these things, it's all aftermarket and none of it ever really fits well, and you're just fortunate if you can find something that's close. So sometimes you just got to make what you want, or throw a Hail Mary and hope for the best. That's what I did. Damn it. Stuck around. Well, apparently I screwed up and you didn't get to see the last plug go in, or the cold start, or anything. I always try to let you guys see everything that's going on. But anyway, I got it started up, idled it up, and it's charging fine. It's running a lot smoother. You can see it in the background. I got my one bottom plow on it, and I guarantee somebody out there is going to be making fun of that. But really all I need to do is break the ground up so I can get a disc through it and I can actually work it. But this has not been broke, since I was a little kid. So I'm going to break this sod up and get it rolled over. And what I did is I tried doing it. I tried using this last year as a no-till instead of breaking it up, and that just didn't work very well. Tried using ground cloth. That didn't work because we had high winds come through. I mean, it worked great for a little while. Everything was growing great. And then one night we had 70-mile-an-hour winds come through, and it just turned into a great big sail, pulled out all the plans, and I had to start from scratch. So, since that didn't work, I'm going to do something different. I'm just going to break it up like my regular, you can't see it, but I've got another little garden area down here. I just put potatoes in. But anyway, so you didn't miss much on the rest of it, but that does kind of irritate me that I lost it. But I'll figure it out. Anyway, you're gonna get to watch me break the ground, and like I said, somebody out there is gonna be making fun of me, but that's all right too. Oh yeah, one more thing. The clutch on this thing doesn't let go right away. You got to go almost a full tractor's length before the clutch lets off. I don't want to crack this tractor in half and fix it yet, so I'm just going to work with it the way it is. And my little John Deere, well, it's probably got more horsepower than this one. This one has enough ass to dig in and actually pull the disc in the plow. The little John Deere just spins. This is heavy. This is real steel. Here we go. One more thing. I don't know if you can hear me out there. One more thing. This plow doesn't have a coulter on it. I don't know if you know what that is, but a coulter is a cutting wheel that cuts the sod before the plow actually, the shear actually goes into the ground. When I bought this, I didn't know what I was getting, and that's what I ended up with. I could probably go ahead and go buy a coulter and put it on it, but honest to goodness, all I'm trying to do is break this over, and it's easier than running a tiller. So don't laugh too hard. noticed, you might not be able to see very well, but some of these furrows I have to hit twice because it's not digging deep enough to hold it, and I'm not sure. The ground's not frozen, but this has never been broke. And like I said, another thing, I'm not cutting the sod before the plow hits the ground. And I don't have fluid in these tires or weights on the back, and that's another story. I'll leave that one for maybe later in the video. I'll tell you about it, but that's a sore subject. But anyway, I'm gonna knock this out real quick and I'll come right back. There's that one. Knocked it out real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and do the potato patch real quick, and then we'll disc this down. So anyway, I'll take you along for the potato patch real quick. Okay, this area right here is the potato patch, and we didn't have these bales here before, so it's gonna be a trick. I'm probably just gonna have to back in and drag out. It's about the only thing I know to do. If I was smart, I wouldn't have put those bales right there, and it's too late now. I don't have a spike to move them, and I don't want to bother any of my neighbors, so I'll just do with what I got. It's the best thing to do, I guess. Once I get over there, I can cut across, but I'd be turning real hard right here to get out, you know, right here. Oh, maybe I could, because I cut off right here. Maybe I got enough room. I don't know. Because usually by the time you get to the end of your full pull, you're out. But anyway, I'm gonna go get the tractor and bring it down here, and we'll go from there again. one thing they used to say about 9Ns and 8Ns, that you can always tell somebody that drives a car that used to run one of those old tractors. They always put their thumb on top of the wheel when they were driving, because these have old knuckle steering. Everything is manual. There's no power steering on these things. So you hit any kind of little rut or any kind of hole, that wheel will just spin, and boy, it'll just damn near take your thumb off. So if you ever run one, you know to put your hand on top of the wheel. But other than that, everything seems to be going pretty easy. This one plows a lot better because I broke this up several times before. But I'm gonna knock this out real quick, get back with you. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me all right. I left the tractor running. I'm gonna drop this plow off, this shear off, and then I'm gonna hook up the disc, and then we'll go smooth that out a little bit. Out here, you gotta watch your tires. We have these locust trees. That's the kind of thorns they have on them. You can kind of see right here. That's a locust tree. It's that way all the way up. Oof. Yeah, you'll run over those with your tires. Your tires they're done. But anyway, I'm gonna drop this off, and I'm just gonna let you watch. Like I say, if it's boring, just scoot right on through it, and pick back up when we go to discing. I probably won't fast forward this because there's gonna be some people out there that want to see how this is done. Drop your draft, set it down. Normally I'd put a leg underneath right here to hold it up so it doesn't fall over, but I don't have one, so we're just gonna have to go without. And if it falls, it just falls. We're going to put this drawbar in here now when we get this all off. Just put your knuckle on there on this side on the draft. And then your sway bar, you're going to put it on too. The sway bar is a stationary piece of steel. It keeps this thing from going side to side because it has a lot of play. You can't really see. This has play side to side like that, and over on this side we got a sway bar that stops all that. Now you got to understand, it's supposed to be one on each side. I only have one, so I bent the living crap out of this one. I need to break down and just get another one. Every time I think about it, I'm already away from the farm supply. All that's doing, all that bar is doing right there, right now, is just keeping that sway bar from dragging on the ground. When I get over to the disc, I'll pull all of it off and redo it. But we'll get over there in just a second. Oop, got to throw more thorns over the fence. Up there as close as you can to the unit before you start trying to hook it up, because it's the little work that's really tough to get it to stay where you want it. this is what happens. You get the one side hooked up just fine, and this side's off. The weeds and crap out of your way. And this side's off. Now, sometimes you can just take and roll this back by hand. Biggest part of the time that don't work. So I've got to force it back with the tractor a little bit. Let's see if I can set this camera so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to back it up and try to line it up. I'll force it back just a touch. Sure, but I think I might have got it. And of course I didn't. I don't know if you could see that or not, but what I did is I raised it up a little too far, and then I let it start bleeding off. And as it bled off, I let it fall into place and slip that pin in real fast. So, all right, let's go disc. Now, one thing about this disc, it's not real heavy. It was designed for these little Ford tractors, and I could close it up or open it up, and depending on how I want a disc. It's open all the time. I just leave it wide, and I'm not trying to dig. I'm trying to smooth it out a little, and it may or may not work 100% all the time, but either way you do it, it's way easier than using a shovel or even a tiller. So just bear with me. We'll get this done. Okay, what I was doing, taking you guys along for the ride so you kind of see how the draft works. The draft is what raises the implement up and down. That's the disc, and it does cut, but it doesn't cut quite like the plow. You know, it tears it up, but it smooths it out a little bit more too. Makes it more workable. Like I said, anything is better than running a shovel or a tiller if you can keep from it. I've got tillers, but I mean, I'm just saying it's easier. I can knock this down, and if I bring a tiller through here now, it's not such a big deal. But if I've got to roll sod over with a tiller, that's tough. This little garden isn't very much. This is for like our vegetables and stuff, and that one over there was a potato patch. That'll be potatoes and onions and things like that that kind of take care of themselves. That's one thing I've learned is potatoes. They can handle themselves pretty well. They don't really need my help other than water every now and then. But anyway, when my grandpa and grandma had this whole backside from up there by the corner of the shop all the way over by the outhouse and all the way down here to the fence and across and back up again. None of these pins were here. That was all garden, and that's what they lived on. Heaven help us if we ever have to be like that again. I'm not saying we couldn't. I'm saying it would suck if we had our hands forced on that, but it's possible. Don't want to, but we could if we had to. Anyway, I put a garden out because we like to live a little bit healthier, and every little bit helps with our budget, and I have the equipment, so why not? Anyway, I'm going to go over here and disc this potato patch down. I'm going to probably just let you guys sit on the sideline and watch this time. It's not so bouncy, and it's hard to control. That tractor's not smooth riding by any stretch, and you probably noticed by the way it bounced all over the place. I haven't watched the video, but I can only imagine. Hopefully I don't make you guys car sick from watching it. But anyway, I'm going to do that, and you guys can watch it real quick. apparently missed some, but they're already seed potatoes now, so we'll just leave them for that. I'll throw them in the seed potato box and we'll go from there. So anyway, that wraps that up for now, and I'll get right back with you. All right, we'll get this disc unhooked and set it up out of the way. Show you guys what I'm talking about when I say a draft. This, shoot, I gotta move this camera down, hang on. This is the draft control. When I push it this way, it drops everything. You can kind of see the disc going down. Push it all the way down. Now the disc is all the way down. And we'll have to put this back on there as well. And like I said before, if this part bores you, I totally understand. Go ahead and fast forward through it or whatever you want. I'm gonna unhook this because there's gonna be people that want to see how it's done. Pull your pin. Persuading. You gotta be careful not pinning yourself in the process. Because generally, I don't know how it is at your house, but at my house I'm doing a lot of this stuff by myself. I think I've never done it before, but I do it all the time. There. Be ready all the time. I think I'm going to move this over. I don't necessarily need it on the tractor. There for now. Knock these off. And like I said, you'll need to persuade it because it won't come off by itself. Let's get this pulled forward so I can put that stuff on. Gotta watch this stuff all the time. It's old equipment, old or new, they don't care. You gotta just be careful. I remember my dad always saying, you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it by yourself the biggest part of the time. Just plan on it. It's not that I couldn't ask for help, I could. But sometimes it's just easier. Just do it myself and it takes less time. So, only thing I can emphasize is just be careful. One thing about this old tractor too, I didn't mention before, I probably should, is it has a Sherman transmission, which means it has a high and low range. Now, that being said, I've had issue with it because the little pin inside sheared, for the transmission to shift it from high and low. And to fix that, I have to break the tractor in half. And like I said before, I don't want to do that. So basically, I can shift it between high and low range, but it takes a minute. I have to actually put some tension on this shifter right here. Now here you can see it's just freewheel. If I put some tension against it, you know, in and out, shove it, kind of pinch it in there, I can get into high range if I want. Ray used to call it road gear. To be honest with you, I just leave it in low range because I'm not going anywhere in a big hurry. But most of the time I just use this for cutting firewood. But that's why I'm getting the flatbed up and running, because it has heat. And while this is nice in the timber because it's small and torquey, it don't have a heater. The flatbed has a heater. And that makes a huge difference when you're up there freezing your butt off. All right, I'm gonna go put this tractor up. Let's take her back to the barn. Now that it's back in the barn, we're going to want to shut the gas off on this thing. I think we're just going to let it run until it runs out of fuel. You know, it's like everything else. If you take care of it, it'll run for a long time, and this is a prime example. I mean, it's a 1940. Older than me by a long shot. Well, I was born in 68, so yeah, that's quite a bit older than me. But these things were made to last, and as long as you take care of them, keep them up. There's a lot of things you can do too. These things actually call for a non-detergent oil, and I know that's, you know, what they say, but I don't know if that's what they mean anymore, because a non-detergent oil is basically, well, okay, this is what they told me. They said that the detergent oil eats the gaskets up. Sorry, I was looking at somebody driving by. I don't know what it is. People just nosy. Anyway, they said that the detergent oil has a tendency of eating the gaskets out of these old tractors. And whether that's true or not, I have no idea. I don't claim to know. That's just what I heard. But I gotta be honest with you, I just run regular old 1030 or straight 30 in it, depending on the time of the year. Or, whoop, and there she goes. I'm gonna go shut the key off because we don't want to run a battery down again. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today, I think. We had a pretty decent one. Got some stuff done that had to be done. But it's like everything I said, you know, work's work. We don't sit on our hands around here unless we're trying to keep them warm. Anyway, you guys have a nice day, and I'll talk to you soon. Now that it's back in the barn, we're going to want to shut the gas off on this thing. I think we're just going to let it run until it runs out of fuel. You know, it's like everything else. If you take care of it, it'll run for a long time, and this is a prime example. I mean, it's a 1940. It's older than me by a long shot. Well, I was born in 68, so yeah, that's quite a bit older than me. But these things were made to last. As long as you take care of them, keep them up. There's a lot of things you can do too. These things actually call for a non-detergent oil, and I know that's, you know, what they say, but I don't know if that's what they mean anymore, because non-detergent oil is basically, okay, this is what they told me. They said that the detergent oil eats the gaskets up. Sorry, I was looking at somebody driving by. I don't know what it is. People just nosy. Anyway, they said that the detergent oil has a tendency of eating the gaskets out of these old tractors. And whether that's true or not, I have no idea. I don't claim to know. That's just what I heard. But I gotta be honest with you, I just run regular old 1030 or straight 30 in it, depending on the time of the year. And there she goes. I'm gonna go shut the key off because we don't want to run a battery down again. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today, I think. We had a pretty decent one. Got some stuff done that had to be done. But it's like everything I said, you know, work's work. We don't sit on our hands around here unless we're trying to keep them warm. Anyway, you guys have a nice day, and I'll talk to you soon.